we've received here at Tremont in the 7-Eleven car. Green flag comes out. We're underway. Donnie Ackner has grabbed the early lead with car number 97 from his outside front row starting position. Blast out that back straightaway with Jack Cottrell quickly up to the number 2 spot. Stan Wetmore has taken over the number 3 position. Out in front with Jack Cottrell, the number 2 position. There's the race for third place now between Stan Wetmore and Eddie Marshall. Wetmore has the number 3 spot with Eddie Marshall pressing him down that back straightaway. J.R. Hefter runs in the next position with Mike King following behind him and Rich Rickey Jr. Don Ackner pulling away, opening up ground over second place man Jack Cottrell. Cottrell now all alone in that number 2 spot, solidly running there. Stan Wetmore getting more speed down that back straightaway in the Port Welding number 73 car. And Eddie Marshall content to ride right behind him now. Marshall taking a little bit of a lower line through turn number 4, looking to gain some ground here. Marshall closing in as Stan Wetmore goes to the top side of turn 2. Runs hard off the corner going down that back straightaway with Eddie Marshall in hot pursuit. Marshall closing the gap up into turn number 3. And they both gain ground on Jack Cottrell. Cottrell, the Rocket Man out of Rock City Falls to the Emmerich Associates. Farrell Auto Company number 8 continues in that number 2 spot. As out in front, Don Ackner setting a very quick pace here and nobody closing in on him. Ackner with a sizable lead here in this first qualifying heat race for the modifieds on the program here tonight. And Don Ackner very strong with this Dale Baldwin Masonry number 97. Jack Cottrell still there for second with Stan Wetmore and Eddie Marshall as we go yellow on the speedway. Freddie doesn't look any fatter after eating all those Freihofer baking cookies. Must be the fat-free he's been into here lately. Ready to go back to green. Here we go. That big lead Don Ackner had is all gone away as Jack Cottrell now pushes him to the east end banking down that back straightaway. Stan Wetmore and Eddie Marshall, a good run here. As Marshall now looks first to the outside, then to the inside. Nothing doing up into turn number 3. Single file fashion, they go through the west end banking. Off of 4, Don Ackner showing the way. Jack Cottrell, number 2 spot. Here's Eddie Marshall. What a beat for third place. He steps to the inside of Stan Wetmore. Wants to make the pass down low. Wetmore going to battle him back on the top side. Wheel to wheel there on down that back straightaway with Eddie Marshall inside. Stan Wetmore outside. Wetmore going to fight him off. Hang on to that number 3 position. Here's Eddie Marshall again looking low. They stay glued together side to side as the white flag flies. 1 lap left for Don Ackner up in front. This wicked battle for third place here. What a great race between Eddie Marshall and Stan Wetmore. Wetmore again with the advantage going down that back straightaway. Marshall can't quite do it as Wetmore closes the door. Again, Eddie Marshall to the inside. Don Ackner has a problem up at turn 4. He loses power. Checkers come out. Jack Cottrell wins it. Stan Wetmore finishes second. Eddie Marshall third. J.R. Hefter comes home in 4th. And the Kingfish, unofficially, Mike King will green. Matt Higgins high atop the flag tower looks him over. Green flag comes out. We're underway in this second modified heat race. Up into turn number 1. It's Brian Madsen. A little bit out of shape there. He gathers it up. Hangs on to the number 1 spot as Al Narzinski settles into second. Here's Sparky Lowell splitting the difference with John Hewitt. They touch going down the back straightaway. John Hewitt has to take his foot out of the gas, and the field goes charging by. Tommy Corellos, Guy Sheldon, Billy Decker all blasting past here. Coming down the complete lap, number 1, Brian Madsen, your leader. Sparky Lowell works on him up into turn 1. Here's Lowell working in the inside, makes the pass underneath, takes over the number 1 spot. On the charge, down the back straightaway is Billy Decker. He's up to the number 5 running position. And Guy Sheldon directly ahead of him slides to the inside of Al Narzinski. He takes over the number 3 spot. Narzinski back to 4th. Then it's Decker and Corellis. Up on front end is the 77 at Swole Express of Sparky Lowe. Lowe out of Roxbury, Connecticut, showing the way. Brian Madsen in the number 2 spot. Guy Sheldon third. Here's Decker getting past Al Narzinski. Billy Decker, the wheels 91, takes over 4th spot. Directly ahead of him, car side to side is Guy Sheldon and Brian Madsen. Sheldon and Madsen racing hard for the number 2 spot as Sheldon drifts to the inside. To the top side is Brian Madsen. He's hanging tough on the top lane here. They continue wheel to wheel going on the back straightaway with Billy Decker and Tommy Corellis behind. Now Guy Sheldon pulls a bit on Brian Madsen up to the turn 3. He wants that number 2 spot away. He may have it here. Off the turn 4, banking into the front straightaway. Brian Madsen Sheldon takes over number 2 spot. Billy Decker gets around Madsen. Madsen in the top lane closes it off for Carrillo's. Carrillo's going to swap to the inside. Meanwhile, Billy Decker has now dropped low, working on Guy Sheldon for the number 2 spot. Great racing action here for spots 2 through 5, allowing Sparky Lowe to get away. He's opening up some ground over this second place race. 5 laps now in as Guy Sheldon and Billy Decker and Tommy Carrillo's race hard up into turn number 3. Guy Sheldon aboard the Albany Freightliner 518. Billy Decker, the wheels 91. Tommy Carrillo's the right number 57. 2 to go, sign comes down here. 6 laps are in, 2 remaining for Sparky Lowe. Here's Billy Decker serving to the inside. Guy Sheldon, a great run for the Albany Freightliner 518 team. They run that number 2 spot. Billy Decker is there. Tommy Carrillo's hanging back a bit now as Decker again dives to the inside. White flag coming out this time around. 1 lap left for Sparky Lowe. Guy Sheldon in at number 2 spot. Here's Billy Decker again, swinging to the inside. Way down the inside lane, can't keep it down there and make a pass as Guy Sheldon is fast in the fast lane. Sheldon fighting off Billy Decker. Tommy Carrillo looks content back there in 4th. Here they come down for the final time. Checkered flag coming out. Sparky Lowe wins it. Race for second spot by Guy Sheldon holding off Billy Decker 3rd. Tommy Carrillo's 4th. Ryan Madsen going to finish 5th. The Boomer's Blast is the Mike King, number 55. Green flag flies, and we're underway. Up in a turn number 1, it looks like Gary Waters going to nose into the lead from the inside lane. He takes up a number 1 spot. Chris Moore now racing right alongside of Scott Kurtzner for the number 2 position. Moore in the Pepsi machine, hard to the inside. Scott Kurtzner up to the top side. Moore going to get that spot away. He's your new second place runner as Gary Waters leads lap number 1. Kenny Tremont has taken over the number 3 spot. Scott Kurtzner back to 4th. They're going to set him up 3 wide into turn 2 off the corner down that back straightaway. Scott Kurtzner in the number 4 spot. Dickie Larkin races 5th. Bobby Albert, Rich Rickey in the Mike King car. Up in front, Gary Waters now feeling pressure from Chris Moore here in the front straightaway. And Kenny Tremont tucks right into the back bumper of Chris Moore into turn 1. Moore looking low. He dips to the inside, goes north bar to nerf bar there briefly. Now pulls it back in line, nose to tail on the back straightaway. Again, going to build up speed in that turn number 3. Driving hard in the corner, down low. Can't quite keep it there, however, as Gary Waters battles past on the top side. Gary Waters fast in the middle of the fast lane, holding off both Chris Moore and Kenny Tremont. By so doing, it's allowing Dickie Larkin to close in, and Larkin going to become a factor here with the McDell chassis Budweiser 99. Up in front, it's the Pepsi machine, again challenging to the inside. Chris Moore wanting to drive right underneath Gary Waters. Can he make it stick, though? Down low. He's in deep now as Kenny Tremont has pulled up on the outside lane, and Tremont is right there. Great side-to-side racing at the head of the field in this one. And Chris Moore and Gary Waters battle hand-to-hand, wheel up to turn 3. Kenny Tremont looking even further down low here, and Dickie Larkin up into it. 4 cars together now for the number 1 spot. Chris Moore and Gary Waters continue to run hard with each other. Inches apart off of turn number 2. Chris Moore noses into the lead. However, Gary Waters, a good run off the top side of the corner. Keeps that momentum up through the high banking and able to hang on to that number 1 spot. Let's see here in turn 4. Down that front straightaway, they take the 2 to go sign here. 6 laps are in, 2 remaining for Gary Waters and Chris Moore. Again, this side-to-side racing not allowing Kenny Tremont an opportunity to pass, nor Dickie Larkin. Larkin is right there, but he, like Trellis in his heat race, holding back a bit in the number 4 spot. Up in front, Gary Waters continues to lead here with the heavy pressure from Chris Moore. White flag out, 1 lap remaining. Tremont still running hard right along with Dickie Larkin. Chris Moore really handling well down to the inside with the Pepsi Machine Zero car. He's able to keep it down there in the inside lane. Dual racing all the way around. Look at Tremont, want to make it 3 wide. He turned 4. Checkers are out. Here's the finish. It's going to be Chris Moore. The Ken Go Dodge Old Duels back-to-back bonus money, so keep an eye on him. Your field assembles in the back straightaway. High atop the flag tower. Matt Higgins gives the send-off to the team going for Peace Car. The field group together. It is time to rock and roll on the high banks of the Super Nerd Speedway. as Matt Higgins looks the field over. Green flag flies. A nice clean start through turns 1 and 2 the first time. Brian Madsen way out high in the middle of the back straight with Gary Waters. Look at Sparky Lowe into the inside. He takes that fast lane on the inside lane up into turn number 3. He noses into the lead. The SNS Asphalt Express will lead lap number 1. Down the straight. Gary Waters swampy leads. Moving on the inside of Sparky Lowe. He wants that lead. Sparky Lowe in command. Gary Waters in the number 2 spot. A wicked early pace being set here. Stan Wetmore in the number 3 position as they sort it out single file fashion up in the west end banking. Chris Moore has taken over the number 4 spot. Kenny Tremont races in the number 5 position here. Behind him in 6th place comes the 8-car Jack Cottrell. Then it's Bobby Albert in 7th. Brian Madsen in 8th. Followed by Eddie Marshall. The 24 of Mike King. And now Dickie Larkin cracking the top 10 with a Budweiser number 99. Off in front, Sparky Lowe shows the way. Stan Wetmore with a bid here. The Fort Wally number 73. He looks to the inside of Gary Waters into the front straightaway. The 50 machine of Chris Moore on the back bumper of Gary Waters. He has to get on the brakes there and back out of it a little bit. And they tighten up in that race for 2nd through 5 running positions here. Stan Wetmore has gotten past Gary Waters. He's your new 2nd place car. Waters back to 3rd. Now Chris Moore challenges him. Up in front. Meanwhile, Sparky Lowe continues to lead. And he starts to open up some ground as he tries to run away from the field here. Stan Wetmore in the number 2 spot. Now Chris Moore has gotten past Gary Waters, and Kenny Tremont wants to do the same. Moore is up to 3rd place. Chris Moore racing in 3rd for the Pepsi machine. Kenny Tremont takes the Payne Concrete Sand and Gravel 115 to the inside of Gary Waters. He wants that 4th place spot away. He's got it here in the first straightaway. Gary Waters still trying to hang top of the fast lane on the top side, but Kenny Tremont has gotten 4th spot. Waters back to 5th, followed by Bobby Albert and now Jack Cottrell. Cottrell, the rocket man with the American Associates number 8, works to the inside of Bobby Albert's car. And now wheel to wheel through turn number 4. Off in front, it continues to be Sparky Lowe. The Roxbury, Connecticut sharpshooter in the SNS Asphalt Express car. Got a comfortable lead right now. 10, he tries to stretch it out to 15 car lengths over 2nd place man Stan Wetmore. Wetmore in the number 2 spot, running well way up to the top side of turn 4. Good run off the corner here for Wetmore. Chris Moore in the 3rd place spot. Kenny Tremont glued to his back bumper. The race now for 5th place finds Jack Cottrell pulling right alongside Gary Waters, and Cottrell is moving down low. Cottrell has taken over the number 5 spot. Gary Waters back to 2nd. Bobby Albert races in 7th. Eddie Marshall in 8th. Dickie Larkin runs in 9th. Brian Madsen in 10th. Just outside the top 10. Guys, the hot guns here in 1995, Tony Corellis and Billy Decker. Corellis racing in 11th, Billy Decker is 12th, Rich Rickey Jr. shows 13th, John Hewitt 14th, Guy Sheldon completing the top 15. Off on the lead end, Stan Wetmore trying to gain ground and close in on your leaders, Sparky Lowe. Meanwhile, Kenny Tremont with a bit of a lead here now for the 3rd place running spot. Tremont wants to get 3rd place away from Chris Moore on the 50 machine. Moore will have nothing of that as he holds top in the number 3 running spot. Kenny Tremont moved now to the back bumper as your lead car starting to tighten up a bit. Sparky Lowe's big lead is now starting to be eaten away by Stan Wetmore. Wetmore is gaining ground. We now show 10 laps complete. 10 laps are into the books here. We are 1/3 of the way through this Roy Harper Baking Company wheels made of that. Sparky Lowe continues on the lead in. But Stan Wetmore, Chris Moore, and Kenny Tremont running them down. Tremont again, dipping to the inside now, trying to find something down low here as he looks for the U-road. Jack Cottrell, meanwhile, is also catching that lead group of cars. Sparky Lowe putting a lap on the Dr. O Express of Vince Maynell, and the rest of the lead bunch go by. Stan Wetmore in the number 2 spot will have Kenny Tremont now down to the inside as Tremont tries to grab that 3rd place spot away from Chris Moore. Moore on the top side, battling back and hanging on to the 3rd place spot as Tremont unable to find the way past. Now 3 wide in turn 2. As Chris Moore saw an opportunity looking low at Stan Wetmore and Kenny Tremont wanting to do the same. Inches apart racing down that back straightaway again. Kenny Tremont handling pretty well to the inside as he's able to keep the Payne Concrete Sand and Gravel 115 down on the inside. Putting a lap on the 347 of Skippy Fox, your leaders go roaring past up to the east end banking. Off of turn number 2, Kenny Tremont runs on a racing over the inside lane as the 347 car takes that inner line away. Sparky Lowe continues to lead, but again, that big lead he had is now down to just a handful of car lengths here. Sparky Lowe, Phil Field, Dave Whitmore, Chris Moore, Kenny Tremont, and Jack Cottrell cleaning out his back here in a little bit. Cottrell may have one of the faster cars as he's been able to run down this lead group of cars. He runs there in a 5th place spot. Back in 6th is Bobby Albert. Gary Waters in 7th. Eddie Marshall reaches an 8th. Dickie Larkin in 9th. Now Billy Decker has cracked the top 10. And Tommy Corliss comes to the inside. There's contact up there in turn number 4 between the Corliss 57 and the Larkin number 99. Meanwhile, your leaders work down the back straightaway. They go single file fashion up into turn number 3 with Sparky Lowe, Stan Whitmore. Whitmore getting a little wide. He really realized up in turn 4. He has to back out of it as he got up in a loose stop and allows Chris Moore to take advantage and makes the pass for second. Chris Moore now taking over second spot. Kenny Tremont trying to follow through the inside lane. He does it. He's now your new 3rd place car. Stan Whitmore goes back to 4th. Jack Cottrell stays right there in 5th. Now Kenny Tremont again with a beat to the inside here. Now battling Chris Moore for the 2nd place running position. Sparky Lowe continues on the lead in here. Sparky Lowe with heavy pressure to be applied by Chris Moore and Kenny Tremont. Moore and Tremont again hook up in a side-to-side battle going down that back straightaway. Stan Whitmore lurking back there in 4th spot. Jack Cottrell in 5th. Running all alone in number 6 spot. Returning to the racing wars here at the Valley after a several week absence of Bobby Albert. An impressive run for him in his first week back after a couple weeks notice. Bobby Albert runs in that 6th place spot. In 7th is Gary Waters. But Billy Decker is there challenging Waters for the number 7 running position. Billy Decker races an 8th spot right now. Eddie Marshall in 9th. Rich Ricky Jr. is flying in the top 10 with a full finish still barely getting number 55. Your leader, single file fashion up into turn number 1. Kenny Tremont has gotten around the Pepsi machine, and Tremont is in his 2nd place car, and he is going after Sparky Lowe. Sparky Lowe with the S&S Asphalt Express has been up there from the get-go here. This is the first time his lead is now being challenged, and it's coming from Kenny Tremont. Tremont, 2nd on the all-time win list, makes the pass for the lead. Kenny Tremont with 20 laps in on lap number 21, bearing down on the inside of Sparky Lowe, saw an opportunity and seized it, and Kenny Tremont has taken over the number 1 spot. Kenny Tremont has not visited victory lane here in the 1995 season, and he is looking to put the paint concrete standing gravel 115 in the victory lane here tonight. Sparky Lowe now back to the number 2 spot. The Pepsi machine of Chris Moore races in 3rd. Jack Cottrell now has gotten past Stan Whitmore, and Cottrell has taken over number 4 position as Stan Whitmore goes back to 5th. Whitmore holds down number 5 spot. Bobby Albert in 6th. Billy Decker now up to 7th. Gary Waters races in 8th. Eddie Marshall in 9th. Rich Ricky Jr. continues in that number 10 spot. It's Kenny Tremont. Tremont starting in position number 8 with a main concrete standing gravel 115. Now ready to bring it home as we're into the final stages of this one. 23 laps now showing complete as Tremont starts to extend his lead down that back straightaway. He's opened up a sizable advantage over Sparky Lowe. Lowe in that number 2 running spot now being challenged by Chris Moore as Moore has come up to the rear deck of the 77 Asphalt Express. Chris Moore, that Pepsi machine out of Lanesboro, swinging to the inside of Sparky Lowe, nailing side to side off of turn 2, going down that back straightaway. Chris Moore with a good run on Sparky Lowe, over to turn number 3, lap car directly ahead of him. Let's see what happens here as Chris Moore has taken over the number 2 spot from Sparky Lowe. They have Scott Kirchner's car to deal with here, and they shoot to the inside of Kirchner. Kirchner will have car, the Quaker State 76, holds in on the outside lane, and your 2nd, 3rd, 4th place cars will move underneath. Meanwhile, Kenny Tremont continues to pull away. He's opened up a half a straightaway advantage now over 2nd place man Chris Moore. Kenny Tremont working with the lap automobile, the 327 of Skippy Fox here in the front straightaway. A half a straightaway advantage over 2nd place man Chris Moore. Moore in that number 2 position. Sparky Lowe there 3rd. Jack Cottrell 4th. Billy Decker has gotten past Bobby Albert, and Decker has climbed into the top 5 for the first time this evening. So Billy Decker has gotten faster and faster here, but the laps are starting to dwindle now. 27 laps showing complete. There are only 3 laps left. Billy Decker may have the fastest car on the racetrack now, but he will not have enough laps left to run down your leaders if there is not the benefit of a caution flag. 28 green flag laps of racing here. A big full straightaway lead for Kenny Tremont. Full lap to go sign coming out. Chris Morehouse down in number 2 spot. Jack Control there in 3rd. Billy Decker trying to better his position. A couple more here in these final couple laps. Kenny Tremont working off of turn number 4. He'll be coming down to take the white flag this time round. 1 lap left for Kenny Tremont. Tremont ready to bring it on home here. Billy Decker still not done on the final circuit. He runs in 5th. He'd like to get 1 or 2 more cars here. Down that back straightaway they run for the final time. Meanwhile, he's turn 4. Your leader coming down to the checkered flag. And it's your winner, Kenny Tremont. Tremont with a Bain Concrete standing gravel wicket. Chris Moore finishes in 2nd. Jack Castro comes across the line in 3rd. Sparky Lowe finishes 4th. And Billy Decker completing the top 5.
As right now, Kenny Tremont has made his way down into victory lane, a long-awaited trip to victory lane. John Stanley is down trackside, and he'll get a few words with Kenny as he exits the car.
Race fans, he's unstrapping down here in the cockpit of the car now down trackside. Climbing out right now, and he can hear here, fans. What do you think? Kenny Tremont visiting victory lane for the first time here in the 1995 season. Kenny working up a bit of a sweat down here in that one. Capacity crowd, overflow crowd here on hand tonight. An awful lot of cheers to see you in victory lane.
Well, it feels good. Man, you just don't know really how good this feels. We've been struggling really, and just really thankful to win this race.
Well, you're 2nd on the all-time win list here at the Valley, but this first win of 1995 took an awful long time. I mean, here we are in mid-July, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's been reminding me of that, but just real thankful for the guys sticking with me, and Bain Concrete and Doherty Brothers, and I've got a whole bunch of guys, Highline Auto Accessories and Huffman Carpentry and Matty Shear Auto Parts and Maloney's Flower Shop. There's a whole gang of people, Farrell Oil Company. They've been with me, and I'd like to thank them because they're a big part of the team, and especially my parents and my wife and kids, and they've been putting up with me because I've been kind of miserable, but I'm real thankful for this.
Well, Kenny, tell us about this race real quick. It was a hard-fought battle in there. That's for darn sure for you to get the lead. Once you had it, though, you're able to pull away.
Yeah, well, when Sparky's going good and Chris was going good too there, and you just keep trying and trying. You never know, and you just keep at it and keep the pressure there, and hopefully it's enough. And tonight it was, thankfully, but you just never know. You can never give up.
Race fans, Kenny Tremont. We got to get everybody who is voted for the number 8 starting position is the running here for $100 cash guaranteed, and we've got Kenny Tremont pulling the name, and I'll read it off. Kenny will let you get a victory line. Congratulations again. There's Kenny Tremont, race fans, and the winner here picked by Kenny down trackside is Donna Gennaro. Donna D. Gennaro of Pittsfield just picked up $100 cash guaranteed thanks to Kenny Tremont. Everybody who voted for starting spot number 8, that's the position that Kenny started in here this evening, was in the running for $100 cash guaranteed thanks to Bush Beer and Donna D. Gennaro out of Pittsfield. You can see Howard Potter up in the Coors VIP Tower once victory lane celebrations are concluded down here at trackside. Donna, you can claim your $100 thanks to Kenny Tremont here this evening. We'll get the folks from Wheels in here for their victory lane pictures, as well as the folks from Freihoffer Baking Company. Of course, one more big feature event yet to come here this evening before we conclude things with the Giant Demolition Derby. A great night for racing here. It's not quite 10 after 10 yet. A capacity crowd on hand. Hope you all can stick around for the sportsman feature coming up next and the Demolition Derby here as we wrap things up on this Wheels Discount Auto Supply Stores Freihoffer Baking Company program of competition.
So as the Victory Lane accolades continue down here with all the representatives from the Wheels Discount Auto Supply Stores and the Freihoffer Baking Company. Now the Tremont crew also making their way in there. Of course, Miss Lebanon Valley, Lisa Farley making her way in for the photo shoot. Also, the bonus money from the Wheels Discount Auto Supply folks for a green to checker finish has also come into play here for the first time in 1995 since this bonus has been instituted. So Wheels Discount Auto Supply putting up extra money for a feature that goes green to checkers, and they're on hand to watch it. So perfect opportunity for that to show how it does work down here. So the good folks from Wheels Discount Auto Supply located right up in their corporate headquarters in Liverpool, New York. Down here to take in the festivities, and we're glad to have them with us here as part of tonight's program. So now Kenny's family moves into the Victory Lane shot down here, and Kenny Tremont and family getting their photographs taken. If you folks are making your way onto the Speedway, as John just said, we've still got one more feature event coming at you, a great big demolition derby down here to be held on the front stretch. Always a crowd pleaser. But if you're making your way out at this time, we thank you for attending. We'll be back in action next Friday night, this coming Friday night, actually, Lebanon Valley Half-Mile Regional. The Northeast only dirt track event of 1995 will be held right here for the two-wheeled variety. American Motorcycle Association flat track racing, AMA Speedway races out here on the High Bank Half Mile. And I'll tell you, I've been here for this show. It is a crowd pleaser, spectacular program to be seen out here. This coming Friday night, and it'll be out here 7 p.m. Ronnie's Harley Davidson putting up $500 for the Dash for Cash. That's always a biggie. It's sponsored by Maroney's Harley Davidson. Spectro Oil, R.K. Strathman, Ronnie's Harley over in Pittsfield. Of course, Ronnie, a long-time sponsor here of the Speedway anyway. Jay Springsteen will be on hand. Of course, Jay Springsteen, a four-time Grand National champion in the Camel Pro Winston Pro Series for the AMA Flat Trackers. Springer was with him last year, put on a heck of a show to do with some of the regular regional talent that shows up as well. He'll be down here available for autographs as well after the races. So if you're a fan